Hey there, and welcome back to Utility Sports. We are reviewing the top destinations for DeAndre Hopkins and where he's going to sign. This is one of the biggest pieces to fall in the 2023 offseason. DeAndre Hopkins is a top 10 wide receiver, and he is looking for a new home. Now, I think there's a lot of teams that would make sense to sign with. However, I think there's a couple in particular that make more sense than others, and here are my top destinations. Now, looking in the NFC North, we have the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions make a lot of sense considering with where they're at with their roster and their salary cap situation. They have $23 million currently available in cap space. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be looking to get a big for not only this season, but potentially for future seasons to come. So to me, it makes a lot of sense for the Detroit Lions to potentially sign him to a multi-year extension. And I think at the end of the day, he's going to be looking for some money. So Detroit makes a lot of sense in that regard. They have a decent team right now. Obviously, this is a team that very well could win the NFC North. Are they Super Bowl contenders at this very moment? Probably not. But they are continuing to progress to that point. I think it's a very, very real possibility that they do win this division. I think they could win a playoff game. Dan Campbell's done a very, very nice job establishing a true culture, something that this team has not had for a long time. Considering the current receiving room, to me, it still makes a lot of sense to add a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, a true number one wideout, pair him with Amon-Ra St. Brown, a really awesome running game. They continue to add pieces to this team. To me, Detroit is one of those highlighting teams that just makes all the sense in the world. Jared Goff had a terrific year last year, very underrated in terms of what he was able to produce on the field and how well he took command of that Ben Johnson-led offense. To me, DeAndre Hopkins to the Detroit Lions is something that we have to have on our radar. Now, another team that makes a lot of sense based off of some of his comments that he had made this week is the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills are a team financially that it doesn't make much sense. So they would have to make some clearing out and adjustments to their current roster. They have $1 million currently available in salary cap space, not nearly enough to sign him for at least this season. I think there's going to be quite a few moves that have to be made and conversions of salary to make this work. Now I look at Buffalo being one of the top priorities because he's looking to play with a top tier quarterback. Josh Allen makes sense. I think Buffalo could be super dangerous having Stephon Diggs as well as a guy like DeAndre Hopkins being able to really be a true red zone threat. Those two as a pairing are instantly the best receiver duo in the entire NFL. I love this for the Buffalo Bills, being able to go ahead and add a perennial superstar wide receiver, a guy that can get the job done. I think is going to be a huge postseason addition as well. This makes too much sense in my mind. The next team, we have Kansas City. Now, Kansas City is tough because they have about $600,000 worth of salary cap room. And these were the two teams, Buffalo and Kansas City, that had contacted Arizona trying to facilitate a potential trade. Now, with the financial obligations that came with it, they were not able to execute a deal. We've actually heard multiple reports that when this all kind of fell apart with the conversations between Kansas City and Buffalo trying to make a deal was when Odell Beckham Jr. had signed with the Baltimore Ravens, had got so much guaranteed money, and that just did not work out, and both deals ended up falling through. So those were the two reported teams that we know that had contacted Arizona trying to facilitate a trade. However, Kansas City makes a lot of sense, looking for, once again, a true number one, a great red zone threat, a guy that you can pair with Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. This offense could be super dangerous once again. It would not shock me if they went ahead and still made this happen. I think this could be a very realistic outcome for the Kansas City Chiefs. I wouldn't put it past this organization to get the deal done. Now we have the Cleveland Browns, and this makes sense for a couple of reasons. Let's think back to some of his best years, and it was playing with Deshaun Watson. They have a very good relationship from my understanding, and Cleveland has been taking some chances on some players in this offseason, Zadarius Smith being one of them. aggressively going out and trying to acquire talent. Having Amari Cooper as well as DeAndre Hopkins as a 1-2 punch is super formidable. You have to consider with where they're currently at. I think Cleveland is as big a player as any, just considering that they're trying to win that division. They play in a tough one. You have Baltimore and you have Cincinnati. Follow that up with a very competitive Pittsburgh team that's going to be right in that playoff hunt once again this year. So to me, it makes a lot of sense for Cleveland to kind of join in. Cleveland right now has about $5 million worth of salary cap space, and I think that they're going to have to obviously free up some money here. So those are the teams that don't have as much money to really work outside of Detroit, but my next couple of teams are a little bit more financially equipped to make a move right now. And looking at it, it's Chicago. Chicago had invested a ton of money in free agency. Ryan Pace decided that he wanted to be super aggressive this offseason, and what better way to cap it off than adding a true number one wide receiver to a room that continues to improve. You have DJ Moore in the wide receiver room, Chase Claypool, Darnell Mooney. Add a guy like DeAndre Hopkins into this grouping. Some people might say, hey, the Bears don't need to do anything else. They've already addressed receiver. But to me, it makes a lot of sense to still take a look at that kind of position and make the proper adjustments. So looking at Chicago, a team that wants to win right now, it's maybe a little bit more geared towards the future with how they've tried to construct things. But I think there's a win now urgency within the organization. They want to see a further development from Justin Fields, and Chicago has some of the assets to do it. You look at the actual collective number, $32 million is what they have in space. They can pay him more than pretty much any other NFL team that is currently in the bidding of his services. So to me, Chicago makes a lot of sense. In a division that seemingly is pretty wide open, they could be that team that goes from worst to first this year in said division. And then we're going to cap it off with the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers is going to be looking for a trusted veteran wide receiver. He's already brought over a couple of his guys from Green Bay, but now you add in DeAndre Hopkins with Garrett Wilson and Allen Lazard. This is a terrific receiver group that they could put together. A stout running game as well, a good offensive line, a collection of playmakers. This is the formula for a very, very good offense, plus a defense that was a priority for the last couple of seasons in terms of building it. This could be it. The New York Jets currently have $24 million in salary cap space, so look for the Jets to be major players in the DeAndre Hopkins sweepstakes. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, leave a like. If you want to see more NFL content just like this, let me know in the comment section below what team will be signing DeAndre Hopkins. I appreciate you stopping by, and we'll catch you in the very next Utility Sports video.